Meeting to order. In front of you, we have minutes from our previous meeting. If everybody has not reviewed those yet, go ahead and do so.
Margaret Marginson, I can't even say it right. This has an I in it.
Mm-hmm.
You saw
Okay.
that?
You caught that more than I did.
Good job, Scott.
Where is it even at?
The bottom there in old business, the very second line.
Instead of any,
All right. If there's any other additions or corrections to the minutes?
I haven't finished reading yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's see, how do you even spell Marginson? M-A-R.
M-A-R.
G-I-S-O-N apostrophe S.
I-S-O-N, okay, whatever.
Okay.
Thank you,
Val.
Yeah.
Sound like a
That
business.
was brought up, wasn't it? We didn't vote on anything, no. All right.
I'll motion to accept.
You got a motion? All right. Second.
Second.
Second from Scott.
With the amendment.
With that
the
correction.
amendment of Scott's. Okay.
Yep.
With the I and.
Yeah, with that correction.
I instead of an E.
All right. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Val.
Thank you, Val, as always. Moving on to the certificate of appropriateness reviews. We have 309 South Main Street, Elks Lodge. You can stay there if you want to. I know you got the cane, so you're totally fine. And we saw you last time, so you're good. So we'll just go through that. Work to be submitted there.
Your Honor, sir, I have a conflict of interest.
Yep. As a member?
Husband.
Husband.
As a member? I'm a member too.
You have a conflict of interest.
I understand, but
I had to physically remove my chair.
No, you don't.
we can still read though. Yeah, so you can read through proposed work there to be done. Replace the existing wood windows with aluminum windows, remove the deteriorated wood fence surrounding the near patio. Patio roof. I looked at the picture, you do have a lot of roofs back there.
Yeah.
It's more than you think that are asphalt. And then repair existing slate roof in the front of the building to materials closely match the original form and appearance. So, well,
The slate roof pretty much is just some cracks and stuff. They're just going
Mhm.
to put a piece of on and make sure it says it's in pretty good shape. There's some loose ones. They just want to resecure.
okay,
About it.
good deal.
Can I ask for a point of clarification? On our minutes from last month, it says aluminum clad windows.
Yes, so they are not doing aluminum clad because they cannot get them to do it. If they did, it would, without a doubt, double the price of the windows. So we're just going with aluminum.
So, from my understanding, the recommended window with the guidelines is the aluminum clad. I don't know how you all feel about just aluminum.
And these are for the entire building?
That's for what, not all of them. Some of them have, the windows are not. They've already been replaced throughout the years. There's like 16 windows that are really, if you see the picture of the one, there's one on the back that's completely rotted out, the sash is. If you can see that, it's just about to fall out.
So with wood window replacement, I will say it, the guidelines say for each individual window, it should be 50% or greater of the original material that's degraded in order to be replaced as opposed to repaired. Would you say that that's accurate for the windows to be replaced?
Oh, yeah, every one of them is in sad shape, especially the higher floors.
I thought when we talked this a while back, I thought you or something else said that they intended to do the metal clad
I
wood.
wanted to do the aluminum clad until I got a price on it. When I went to get clarification from Henry County Glass, they said that we quoted it at aluminum. The aluminum clad would cost way more. So,
Have you applied for any grants or any grants coming down the future that
well,
could
that's
help
what
you?
this is for, is they're gonna have this.
And the building inspector's saying it complies with all city ordinances.
Would you be open to using aluminum clad wooden windows if you're getting some grant money or some assistance with the project?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely would be, it just depends on how much it would cost us. Because I know that alone, just for the aluminum, is, I think the quote was $30,000.
The quote's 30,000 just for the aluminum windows?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
How many?
I think there was like 16.
You
I
got,
mean, don't quote me on the numbers exactly, so I don't have it all on me here, but
you got quotes from different sources.
we got two.
Two.
I know Henry
Yeah.
County was the cheapest.
Stevie, what are your thoughts on aluminum?
I think, from my understanding, it would be better than the vinyl that is in some of those windows already. I don't know, from greater experience, what people have, dealt with those. Let me look at the guidelines really quickly and just see what it says precisely. But I think if you're comparing vinyl and aluminum, I think the aluminum would probably be more preferable. I don't know if it would.
That aluminum doesn't meet our guidelines.
It does not?
It does not.
Okay.
I'm asking you.
Let me.
The Secretary of Interior. Expansion and contraction.
You'll be applying for BRAP money that we're doing.
Trying to.
I'm going to make a motion, if it meets city ordinances and it's cost restrictive, I'm going to make a motion to accept it.
You're not gonna give Stevie time to look.
Hmm?
You're not gonna give Stevie time to look.
Are you able to look tonight, Stevie?
I'm looking right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't know that she was looking right now. Okay.
It may meet Kenny's guidelines, but it doesn't make the preservation guidelines, our guidelines.
But I'm
And-
going right now with Kenny, if he's looking at the city ordinances and it's cost restrictive of double the cost. If she
Well-
can come up with something different, Richard.
Yeah.
If she can come up with something
I'm
different.
just saying, I don't think we should start turning to the city guidelines for our preservation purposes. so.
But I just want to make sure that we're not, if they're trying in good faith to save their building, that's,
When was that built?
We've been in that building for well over 100 years.
and costs keep going up, so.
So you're replacing windows that are 100 years old, some of them, or they've been replaced for
I don't
100
think
years?
they've ever been replaced.
Here it is now.
Maybe in the 30s or 40s, but I don't know for sure. A lot of the windows on the inside in the winter, we have to put plastic over because they're just.
Where'd you pull this from?
Just looked up the question.
The consideration for the longevity of a
Where'd you pull this from?
aluminum clad wood window as opposed to just an aluminum window? Yeah.
See, I'm just looking at the cost of it. I mean,
Mm.
We're not,
Cost
I
now
mean, we're
is.
not a business, we're not making a profit.
Because everybody can come up
I don't know if this matters, just an overview in general. We have our particular guidelines. Aluminum windows can meet historic preservation guidelines, particularly from buildings 1930s through 50s, or when replacing non-original material, provided they precisely match the original profile, depth, and finish.
So,
For what that,
yeah, so what our guidelines say is recommended replacement window products, and it's, you know, aluminum clad, fiberglass clad, fiberglass,
there.
composite, obviously all wood, but, and then it also says things that are not recommended and generally not approved. It says vinyl clad, Oracle vinyl sash, frame, insert replacement, but it does not specify aluminum replacement. So,
open?
whatever commission feels. And it would match the existing.
Yeah, so they're not gonna, they won't open, but they will have the middle rail to look just like we do right now, so they'll look just like a single or double window.
I guess the problem I have about with your proposal, your motion, so anybody can come in here and say, oh, it's cost effective, it's not it's cost prohibitive, so then we just automatically throw our preservation rules out and go with what Kenny approves? Anybody can walk in here and say, it costs too much. Is that how we're gonna make decisions?
I'm just trying to look because I'm going by that,
Sure.
and I understand the cost factor personally.
Sure.
And I understand the guidelines, but I'm looking at those guidelines too, so I'm trying to do what's the best of both worlds for the businesses too. So my motion's out there. All I can do is throw it out there
Sure,
for
sure.
a second.
So we do have a motion.
Doesn't have a second, it can be dead.
So we have a motion. Is there a second? And to let Paul know, the reason of the COA is we have the BRAP this week, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. So it's not like a decision that can be really tabled necessarily, because he really needs an answer so he can either move on or with BRAP or not. Let's put that out there.
Could we, don't move on.
Well, one of us should ask the question that you were thinking about.
Could we compromise and the windows that face face Church Street and Main Street be aluminum clad wood, and the windows in the back and the side, is not visible, could those be just aluminum? Could that be a
I
compromise?
would have to, I don't know, I'd have to find out. I mean, I'm not trying to be combative or
Sure, no,
argumentative
no.
or anything, I'm just trying to do what's best for us
Right.
financially.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
not
but
prohibited,
I-
right?
If we don't have
Not
windows, I mean, already our heat costs us through the roof in the winter. And if you deny it, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I mean, you see where we're coming from.
Guidelines say no, fine, totally fine. Didn't say it, at least that I can-
I mean, I read through the requirements and I didn't see where it said I had to have the aluminum clad wood windows. It said materials from the time, so.
I mean, I'm very sympathetic to the cost factor, and, that's Nixon Home's a great historic home. But then, we let you do something that's totally against our guidelines, then everyone else is gonna expect that same treatment when they come, and that's where I have an issue. It's hard to let somebody do something against our guidelines, next person comes in, wants the same treatment, and we just.
So does the guidelines specifically say we can't have aluminum at all?
It does not specifically say that. At least that I can see from.
The word that keeps jumping out to me is preferred. It's recommended preferred. It's what the guidelines say is here's what's preferred. It's up to you guys to decide what you're going to allow.
Which, in my understanding, that would be, then it's opened, it's recommended that you have clad, but
Right.
it's not against specifically our guidelines. It's just not preferred. But there's
Well,
not like a, no, you cannot.
Aluminum windows aren't
No
even,
exception.
yeah, so aluminum windows aren't even mentioned. So the ones that are not recommended or
Those
is
are- we don't even
vinyl.
discuss.
Yeah,
It's just not gonna
right,
happen.
right.
I'm not gonna weigh in on this, but didn't we pass, and Stevie okayed it, and Richard okayed it, vinyl windows next door to the Castle Theater through a passway 2 weeks ago?
We might have, but that
Yeah,
was
we
because
did.
it was not visible to the public
Right,
at all.
but we did pass vinyl windows.
And the window seminar that we did go to, if it's not street facing or not a facade facing, street facing, I should say, then that guy even said that is something that is thrown out there a lot of times.
Yes.
So if it's street facing, how would you know if it's aluminum clad or aluminum without going inside the building?
That's a great question. And I've, personal opinion on windows themselves, we've always said no vinyl, which I agree with, that the new guidelines that we've put into place, that's what it says. But metal windows have always been, I always thought a metal window was acceptable. And I don't know if it was aluminum, or if it was steel, or if it was this, or if it was whatever the material was, but metal, I always was under the impression that those were allowed. Which, like I said, it's not in there that says that it's not, it's just saying preferred is the composite, or the wood, or the aluminum clad, or the, going through all of those.
Yeah, and if it I don't have but if it looks, if it's the same,
And it's gonna be the same color, right? It's gonna be all those things.
It'd be white, it'd be, yeah.
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Can I ask you a quick question
Yeah.
first? What's your feelings between vinyl and aluminum?
I
Vinyl-
mean, just going based on the guidelines, the fact that it explicitly says in the not recommended is fully vinyl, and it doesn't say not recommended is fully aluminum.
Okay,
That's what I can go off of.
okay.
Well, I'm gonna throw my 2 cents worth in there. Murphy Building, we followed all the guidelines, took wood out, put wood back in. They put half the windows in backwards. The people that work in the offices still have to cram paper underneath it paper towels to keep the wind from blowing papers off their desk. Wood's not always the answer. If you want to keep it 100% historic, that would be nice, but we're looking up the goat rump at the Murphy Building. The clock starts ticking on the wood, it's gonna rot out. I mean, I would put vinyl way in front of wood, especially on the second and third floors. The ground floor, we need to put new doors in the Murphy Building, we need to, that should meet all the guidelines. People don't touch that, feel that second and third floor. Actually, I can give you 2 or 3 buildings you can drive by and you can't tell if they're wood or vinyl on the second and third floors. So,
You say if put part of them in backwards, that'd be part of the problem.
Yeah.
That was a grant from Indiana Landmarks of $23,000, and it was gotten through our city council.
And that was one waste of money. That was peeing money away. I have a different opinion of the first floor and the second and third floors. Second, third floors, it's hard to tell.
So we have a motion and a second. I will ask all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? One opposed. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll make sure to get this to the building inspector so you can get your B-RAP moving. And you can go from there. There you go. You got it. Thank you. Thanks for coming up.
Thoughts on this? Better than anybody else here.
Okay. So we'll move on to the preserving discussion. We'll kick this off with, did we find out?
Okay, I went through, and I apologize for not getting back to you.
No.
It's been a little hectic. In February 25, there was, the gentleman came and presented the information about the projects, okay? And at that point, you did state at that time that there wasn't the need for the COAs. In March 10th of 25, we did accept the minutes with an addendum that anything in the historical district did require a COA. And everybody voted here that we accepted that with that amendment. So at that point, we said, yes, anything in the historical district did require a COA. So that's where it standed then.
But that was the meeting after.
And we all voted, and everybody agreed to that amendment that said anything in the historical district required a COA. That's where it stood then.
That was a month after, though, correct? That he had already been in, and we had already said that they weren't
You
needed.
stated no, and then we made an amendment, and Pat's, that's where it came in. So in that meeting, we said, yes, they did require, anything in the historical district required a COA.
Okay. The minutes from our,
7/8 of 24.
correct,
But that was a year before that, that said at a state level,
correct,
at a
which,
state level.
right, and that was what they had agreed upon from the grant process.
Who they,
That would be Indiana Landmarks, that would be, or not Indiana Landmarks, that'd be Preserving Grant, that would be Main Street, that would be everyone involved with the process.
but wouldn't that have been before the COA procedure from our end was established?
We've always had a COA established of doing a COA.
We are not talking about a COA that we have justice to say you have to change this. What you get on a COA, we can't do like we did this gentleman. Would you do vinyl? Would you do this? Would you do that? That's approved through the state level. That's approved. But Kenny Dale has stated, who is our administrator, that fees have to be paid for the COA. In 2025, that what we stated, because of what our guidelines, what our rules, and what our procedure says. And we all said yes.
Correct. After that one has already been applied for and approved and everything else was done, from that point forward, that was prior to. So that doesn't count. If we do that, then we could backdate for years on COAs that we didn't collect fees for. I mean, I've applied for COAs that I didn't pay fees for. You guys applied for buildings that you guys applied for COAs for, that we didn't pay for fees, because it was before we enacted the fees of a COA. So we can't go back on something that we've already said we approved. You can't do that.
Kenny Dale said, who is our administrator, said fees have to be paid.
I
And
understand.
in 2025, when they came to the
They were
building-
here, no, because they already presented prior to that once before. And like I said, it was already established before anything was done that a COA was not required. It was in those minutes. You just said it from July of '24.
It was stated, no, nothing was, doesn't say who stated it.
That's part of the grant, though, and we've already established that. That was part of the grant, and everyone knew that. It was right there, and it was a done deal.
I'm not gonna argue with you. They have paid them, and I let everybody know they've paid them.
No, they haven't paid. We've turned that into an ordinance. The building inspector's office is plenty busy. They're not looking for other things that have to work for you.
Sure.
You brought that to them to, in black and white, to charge fees for that.
Can we stop there? We, as a commission, did not do that, Mayor. One person did that. We did not do that. We haven't even voted on the minutes that we were asking for. It was still a discussion here. No one had said and given approval to anyone
What
to go
person?
to go to a meeting and do that on behalf of the commission.
What
No
person?
one, you.
I didn't, she didn't,
I didn't,
she didn't.
I didn't.
Then someone did, because I've got emails, if we want to read emails from people that
I
have said
did
that
not.
you
did
were the
not.
one that did that.
Did I say that, Mayor? No.
I've got.
I'm not gonna get in an argument.
Well, we need to get to the
Turn
bottom.
it into an ordinance. Who,
We did.
But that was after the fact. Like, once again, guys, that was after the fact. You're shaking your head. Everybody understands. That's after the fact, Patty. This is not before. That was before this was already happened. We've already went through this through the grant process. This has already happened.
All right, can I just do my treasure report? And then we'll go on.
No, because we need to take these fees. I would like to make a motion that we, either if those fees have not been paid, that we refund those as a commission,
well, I'm gonna put it like this.
because they didn't need to
The
charge.
grant administrator calls me, and the most embarrassing, we're talking about $25.
Exactly.
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 I'm gonna pay it out of my pocket just to get it done, gone over with, and Mike Klein Peter says, I've already got a guy coming over to pay the
From
$25.
Columbus.
He said, I've never seen anything this petty in any other community.
Exactly.
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 1,000% it's petty.
Makes us
Yeah.
look bad.
Makes us look terrible.
I was told by some from Minneapolis that Newcastle is very difficult to work with, especially your Historic Preservation Commission. I said, what do you mean? So I heard some comments about it. You know, we have an article in the paper that talks about, even though COAs are not needed for this preservation project, the Historic Preservation requested that $25 fee $25 COA fee per building be paid. I didn't say.
There was not a motion
I
made.
didn't say that.
Who did?
Who did? Because there was not a motion made.
Invited to this
Emily.
meeting in February and could
Emily?
come and clarify a
Em-
lot of this.
Okay, I got an email from Emily that I would like to share, if it's okay with everyone.
I've had it too.
No, that's a different one. She sent one personally to me about everything going on. And she just addressed this to everyone. She just said, I want to take a minute to talk the process that led us to be compelled to pay the COA fees for the 5 buildings receiving and preserving grant funds. I was informed at a meeting at the Main Street Preservation Committee on March 16th that there was a concern brought up at the March 9th HPC meeting about the preserving buildings getting an exception to the COA process. I was told that no vote was taken, but that Patty Broyles in particular, as treasurer, was concerned. I was also told that Stevie Meyer, as the Indiana Landmark staff member, tried to clarify that this was not necessary and had been documented in minutes of a previous HPC meeting. At this point, I thought the issue had been resolved. March 31st, Kenny Melton came to our bi-weekly preserving construction meeting, saying that Patty had been in his office representing the HPC, telling him that he could not issue building permits until he got COAs. He was standing in agreement with Patty, saying that he couldn't issue the permits without the COAs. I said that I had spoken with the Indiana Landmark staff member, and she was tracking down those minutes, and that he should be able to use those in place of the COAs in the event of an audit. I attended Board of Public Works meeting April 6th and April 20th to try to iron out the continued confusion. I was under the impression we had ironed it out after the April 6th Board of Works meeting, But when we had our next preserving construction meeting on April 14th, Robbie Taylor, the GC of the preserving project, said that he had been in the building inspector's office again and was told that the office could not issue building permits without COAs. So when I went to the Board of Works meeting April 20th, the process having been held up a full month at this point, I was firm about asking what we needed to do in order to move forward. Joel Harvey, city attorney, said as long as the building inspector's office put those minutes from the July 2024 HPC meeting in file, that they would be safe in the event of an audit. I requested the minutes from Stevie Meyer that day and received the April 21st, and passed them along to the building inspector's office, again thinking the issue was resolved. When the preserving construction team met again on April 28th, I was told that the building inspector's office was still refusing to issue building permits, as I was extremely disappointed and frustrated to find out that the reason was that Patty had continued to assert that the building inspector's office could not issue the permits. Between April 21st and April 28th, Patty also approached Carrie Barrett, former Main Street Executive Director,
I did do that.
resigned September 2024, about how the COA fees for the how to get the COA fees for the preserving grant. Carrie also reminded Patty that based on her memory, no COAs would be issued for this project due to the aforementioned reasons, and directed any further questions to Mike Kleinpeter that we've talked about, the grant administrator. On April 28th, project architect Stephen Allen and I went to visit the building inspector's office, who once again said that Patty had brought in the historic preservation ordinance to the office and prevented them from issuing the building permits. At this visit, we were all told the clerk treasurer's office was also telling the building inspector's office they couldn't issue the building permits without COAs, citing audit concerns. Stephen and I visited the clerk treasurer's office next and spoke with Ashley Huffman. I will freely admit where I was very frustrated at this point and regret that I contributed to the tension with a lack of patience. I reminded Ashley of the conversation at the April 20th Board of Works meeting in which she was present and took minutes. She unfortunately did not recall Joel's counsel that the July 2024 HPC minutes would be sufficient to cover the city in an audit, though the recording of the meeting will reflect and confirm that this conversation took place. She said that she would reach out to Joel to confirm. Stephen and I visited Joel Harvey's office next to assure that we were correct in our understanding and that we should simply stay the course and press the building inspector's office to issue the permits as instructed. Joel was in agreement and also mentioned that he had reconfirmed with Ashley that no COAs would be paid and we would have a plan in place to protect us from the event of an audit. Once again, I thought the issue was resolved. This week continued, the HPC was not budging on their stance, and we began to consider simply paying for the fees to avoid further delay of the project, and which had been held up 7 weeks at this point. As director of the Newcastle Main Street, did I not feel it was appropriate stewardship of our limited funds to pay a fee that was not due, nor was I comfortable passing the fee along to the property owners who have already invested significantly in this preservation effort. Ultimately, our grant administrator, Mike Kleinpeter, opted to pay for the fee to allow the project to move forward. A member of his Greenwood office drove all the way to Newcastle on Friday, May 1st, to pay for the $125. He did this after speaking with the city attorney, who admitted the course of action might be the only way to make this go away. As of Monday, May 4th, Board of Works meeting, Patty attended and spoke on behalf of the HPC to thank the city for making sure the COA has gotten taken care of for preserving. Monday afternoon, the building inspector's office sent out an email asking for the COAs to be filled out, which was further confusing because we were told that Patty told the building inspector's office and the clerk treasurer's office that it was actually fine if we didn't fill out the COAs. There just was no leniency on paying the fees. All of these circumstances considered considered, I do have some concerns about about Newcastle Main Street, the City of Newcastle, and the Historic Preservation Commission partnering well together. One, when we allow bureaucracy to divide us as opposed to working together, this creates more work and less credibility for all of us. There were a number of potential solutions if in fact that there was no accepted leniency in the ordinance. The HPC could have opted to partner with us in paying the COAs. If that wouldn't have been allowed, then the concerned member of the HPC could have offered to cover that cost. There were so many solutions that could have gotten us focused on moving forward instead of an obstacle to a $2 million historic preservation project for downtown Newcastle. Keep in mind, the longer we drag this out, the less desirable it will appear to Okra as a future grantee. As the Newcastle Main Street Director, I should have been contracted directly by the concerned member of the HPC. Instead, it feels as if I was intentionally avoided. This reads as disrespectful and unprofessional, and I know that there is not a reputation our HPC wants to perpetuate. I also know the HPC does have leadership structure. I hope this situation can spark a conversation about chain of command as far as representing the HPC in public. At the Board of Works meeting, May 4th, the HPC was represented by a bit passive-aggressive and vindictive, and again, I know that that's not the reputation the Commission desires. The HPC has now collected funds that were not owed. While I appreciate the intent of upholding ordinances and certainly prefer if I can talk right, attention to the ordinance as opposed to apathy towards the ordinance, there also needs to be an understanding that the HPC's authority has a limit, and there are times where we need to be accepted in order for all of our organizations to work together for the best outcomes for our city. I regret having to bring the details of this unpleasant circumstance to your attention, but I appreciate your willingness and desire to understand how we got to this place, your efforts to improve future interactions. Please reach out to me for any further questions.
If any Main Street director or member ever comes in building inspector's office and acts and talks at a high tone of voice, like happened 2 weeks ago, they'll be escorted out of the building. Now, because there's frustrations there of an architect and engineer that they changed in the middle of the stream, this last Board of Works meeting, Robbie Taylor, I just signed his insurance papers for two of the buildings. He didn't have insurance there's a lot of frustrations here.
Sure.
Somebody should have came to me before it got this deep. If there are no fees to be paid, somebody needs to communicate from the head of this board with, if you talk to Joel doesn't write the receipts. We have a building inspector and secretaries that don't deserve to get talked to like they got talked to. And Ashley was in the room and she was blowing her hair back and said nobody should act like this in the city building. If there's frustration like that, it should come to me way before it gets to this point.
Well, and Mayor, in all due fairness, I totally agree with that no one needs to act like that in public. We all need to keep our cool, and I always try to be diplomatic in anything that I always do.
She wants to be professional.
She does want to be professional, and I'm just saying this. This issue did not need to come to this point. This was already discussed and talked about in 2024. We had already had an agreement of how things were supposed to be, and there was our discussion here had been moved on, yes.
But Dave, Carrie Barrett had come to this commission many times to be a participant and keep us informed.
Mm-hmm.
And Emily Hurst has never come to this commission as a participant to keep us informed.
I don't disagree with that whatsoever. I don't disagree with that.
And Carrie did come and would come and keep us abreast for questions and answers. Emily has never come.
She's been asked.
And I totally understand your frustrations with that part too.
And that might not have come to this point if Emily would have come every now and then to participate alongside of us like Carrie did.
I agree with that too. But I guess what I'm going back to is the mute point of that COAs and fees were not necessary for this project. It was stated numerous times that it didn't, that this, we didn't even need to go here.
But
Like,
that
this
was-
is such a wasteful time of everybody's energy. Ours, Emily's, the city's, this is such a waste of time and effort because of what? Because of $125? I guarantee you we spent,
You brought up 100, can I speak?
Yeah, absolutely.
You brought up a great point there. You got a $2 million project, and you guys are worried about $125.
I'm not worried about
That is
$125.
the ordinance of the city, I think.
It's a city ordinance.
That it's paid, there had to be an ordinance that the COAs are paid for to get it through all the books.
if this was a separate building of any other sorts, I would totally agree with that statement. But this was part of the preserving grant that was stated in the very beginning.
And going
Well,
on for
then why did you not get that to Kenny Dale?
He knew about
Joel,
this.
why didn't you-
He knew about this. Everybody knew about this. How long have we known about no COAs and no fees for this project?
Since Brittany was here.
Since the
But
Brittany
that
was here in
a Brittany
2024.
statement. That was a Brittany statement when she told
Have you
that.
showed them that? Have you showed them like our
It's in the
ordinance?
minutes, right there. It states it clear.
That minutes,
2
you
years old.
stated no COAs. Where does it say no COAs? Where?
We can get it from Mike, I'm sure, from Mike Kleinpeter, I'm sure that he
Okay,
can have it.
I've
I mean,
got
if he was
an email
baffled,
from him
okay.
that was sent to Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is from Ashley. I'm in a POW meeting. Does a grant pay for permanent fees? Permit fees? No, it won't pay for permit fees. So who does? She said fees, she didn't say fee. If the contractor pays them in his construction costs, puts them in his construction costs, then Okra funds can pay. If then, it is paid from local funds. Emily mentioned something to me about Main Street paying $125. This was before any of the other stuff happened.
When was the date? When's the date on that?
I don't have it because but this was before the meeting that she had with Mayor York.
And this, I guess,
And-
and I guess that's what I'm going back to, Patty. The fees for this project, when it was applied for and we received it, that was part of the grant. It had nothing to do with us, nothing to do with us. It was completely done through the state, through preserving. It had nothing to do with us. We did not need to collect COAs. We did not need to collect any fees because our fees were just put into place.
Well, let me do the treasury report because we
Okay.
have to, because that's my job. And I have to go by last week.
Okay.
Once it's paid, let me do that. And you guys can decide what you want to do from there. Okay. Historic preservation on May 11th. The balance was on 12/31 of '25, $300. Balance ending on 4/13/25, $125. There were 6 total COAs paid, which consisted of $150. In 2026 balance, $275. We have a total balance now of $575. I submitted this to myself, Dave Nance, Valerie, Newcastle Building Inspector's Office, and Stevie, and have received no questions on that. This is what I have to go by. So you guys really don't need to vote on it because it's through, I'm just saying what they tell me to say. So that's why I said we could have said this. Now, this is to the Board of Historic Preservation, Mayor York, Building Inspector, Kenny Allen, Building Inspector, and Stevie. I will be stepping down as HP Treasurer today on May the 11th. I have been on this board since January of 2024 and elected treasurer in February of 2024 due to no one else stepping up to the plate. I tried to resign once in 2024 because of no fees being charged for COAs. I saw no reasoning for a treasurer. In 2025, things changed. We started charging for COAs. This meant, as a treasurer working with the clerk and the building inspector's office, we were expected to follow our rules and ordinance due to handling money, working with State Board of Accounts. Working with Ashley and Kelly helped me tremendously, and I thank them both for their kind words and support. Having total of approximately over 30 years' experience volunteering my employment, working with audits, local audits, state audits, and national audits, I can leave by saying I followed the city historic preservation rules and historic preservation ordinance for the city of Newcastle. I personally think all of you need is someone for this building inspector, mayor, and the clerk office to perform this duty, but that is up to Mayor York. I will say it works well for the park board having 2 paid employees when it comes to an audit. Also, this will be my last meeting as a board member for this board. This is not a fun board for me, and I have never felt welcome. I bring to you every meeting my notebook, which has the rules, the ordinance, the recommendation guidelines for all of us to follow. I am an individual that takes this seriously and follows rules. That is why Mayor York chose me to help this group. I'm stepping down. Val, do you have anything?
I have a letter also. I'm not going to read it totally, but this will be my last meeting also as secretary and as a board member, and I will present that to you, Greg. I've been on it since 2/20. You appointed me to represent the building inspector's office in Kennydale, and I felt I've done that for this time, and I just don't feel at this time I can serve anymore, and I can still support the city and the downtown in other ways, and I just think it's time to step down, so.
Well, thank you both for your time on this board and your help. We really, really appreciate it.
If anyone else would like to continue to stay on this board, I need a letter from you. I've already talked to Joel about dismissing this board and restructuring and starting all over again. I think it needs a lot of help. I think it needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of guidance. So if you're interested in continuing to stay on the board, I need a letter from you stating why you would like to continue to stay on the board. Because it's going to get, I'm not going to say what's going to happen. I have already talked to Joel about disbanding this committee. It's appointed position. It's not elected positions. So I feel like it needs some help.
Okay.
Questions?
The commission was created by the city council. How does that impact your decision?
It has to go through city council.
Good. As it should.
I would, I'd like to say that over the last 20 years of being on this commission, and your statement that you just made, I feel like that's I'm trying to say this in a very polite manner. I feel like that's a very underestimated take on this board.
I've been here for 15 years now.
Uh-huh.
I have never had one person say that they have had a pleasant experience in having come to this.
Is
That's not true. That's not true. That's bullshit.
I have never had one, I said,
That is
I have
bullshit.
never had one person come to me. I didn't say I've talked to everybody, every person come through here. I've never had anybody come to me and tell me, now, how can you tell me what's true or what's not true? You have no idea who I've talked to.
People don't like the word no.
No,
That's the problem.
And that's the problem with this board. This is a tough board to be on. I mean, this isn't an easy board. This is a very, very difficult board. I mean, we used to have, and that's the other part of it too. I mean, we used to have city help. I used to have Harold Frame here. I used to have everybody, and it was a requirement. Actually, I think in our guidelines, it's actually stated that we're supposed to have our building inspector here in our meetings.
and I'm sitting here tonight,
Mhm.
And you're still making decisions over what windows, what kind of,
Because it's
it's
important.
different every time.
It's important, though.
You should have a guideline, you should already have a guideline.
We do, but every time it goes against, it gets compromised by someone coming in or someone else saying, well, just put vinyl in, it's completely fine. When it's, that's a statement that you're making. That's your opinion, that's opinion of, just like there's 7 of us that have an opinion. It's an opinion. And our guidelines are based over the Secretary of Interior standards, which if you are involved with preservation, that is the standard that's used by.
I'm involved in preservation.
Yeah, I know.
Very, very much.
I know, and so that's what I'm saying, is that with those guidelines, that's what we try to base our decisions off of, or at least I try to take into account when I take that in. Sure, I take into lots of other things, but I think that we try to, I mean, as a board and a commission, when there's the rules and there's stuff in front of us, like we have to sit there and I mean, that's what makes up a board, is we all have our opinion. I mean, when we have 7 people at a city council meeting, it's always an opinion of like what they think, what they have from their constituents. That's how it's supposed to work. And sometimes we may not agree with the way that things are, but as far as our guidelines go, and we have someone here that represents the largest preservation group in the United States representing us here, that gives us guidance, that can tell us what the standard is for that. Look at our downtown and how much it's improved over the last 20 years. You don't think that this commission had anything to do with that?
It had a lot to do with it.
I think it had a ton to do with it. I think we were
I
the,
think there's other entities that's had a lot to do with it.
I know, I totally agree. But what spurs that on is that there's a bond, there's a uniformity downtown that is structured, and that's what builds our downtown. That's what starts from
I'm very
the
disappointed
base.
that you would put a purple building downtown, but go on.
Who's Purple Building?
We've got donut shop that you're concerned about aluminum and wood.
Well, I mean, that's just, yeah, and then also it's also a non-historic.
Well, Broad Street, it's in the historic district.
But it's also,
You still represent.
but it's also a non-contributing building. It's a drive-through that could be, that means nothing, really. So, I mean, as far as the buildings go, right? I mean, in that instance, right? I mean, it was built in the 70s.
It means nothing, I guess, it means nothing.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as historic value, there's not a lot of significance to a motor bank. I mean, that's a moot point, in my opinion, that it would matter to the downtown. But what I'm saying is that our downtown had guidelines and had rules and had those things established, and we've been here to help guide that and help move things along. And for someone to blatantly come in and start making things and start, and doing all these things, it's like, well, yeah, because that's not who represents us. Like,
I and Kenny have absolutely no idea about the dates. Are you the president of this board?
I am the president of this
You should have
board.
got those, you should let Kenny know and let me know about the dates of these
Well,
boards.
when someone comes at us and says, well, we need to charge fees, and we sit here and all of us, you just heard the
Did you
conversation
all vote to charge fees?
after the fact.
Well, okay, but we turned it into an ordinance.
Correct, but this was before.
Before the fact, why didn't you get
Because
us
it's- because it was-
documentation on the
We need
dates?
to.
Because,
We need to.
why did we need to? Because it was stated in the original plan when we got the preserving grant that these
Your
fees were
job, make
needed.
sure everybody knows about that.
But she's going behind everybody's back,
No,
going in
don't
everybody's
be starting
office.
pointing fingers
No.
at one person on this board. You cannot blame one person on this board.
No, but one person created a lot of trouble for this.
No, don't go there.
One-
Don't
one
go
person-
there.
I'm
Don't
going
go
there.
there.
I
Could've
am,
got in
so.
touch
That's
with
not
me,
there.
And one person could've got in touch with Kenny Dell and gave us dates, and gave us dates.
We asked for dates this last meeting because no one would know that.
But
And
you-
that's what we, did we
You all
not?
come to the meetings and you all are given minutes and you all have access to minutes. And who comes with, sir, if you guys all come in with nothing.
I have them on my phone right
You have
here.
your phone, but the rest of you come in with nothing, and you could come in with notebooks with minutes and things like that and be prepared. But then you could look it up.
I was just asking the
I
person
know, and you
that's in
do have it
charge.
on the computer, you have it
Right.
on your phone.
But I'm just saying, I just
I know.
wanted it from the record.
I get
Of
that,
where
I
that
get
went.
that,
And
I
that's
get
the
that.
only reason I asked you to do that,
I
because
know.
I wanted everyone to be on the same page. But that's where I guess I get frustrated with this board of saying that this board hasn't done anything for this town and you're wanting to restructure it.
Who said that? Nobody said that.
I think you just did.
No, I didn't say that. Those words didn't come out of my mouth.
Did you not just say you wanted to restructure this committee?
Yeah, but those words didn't come out. I said this board needs help. You telling me this board doesn't need help?
We do now. We have 2 empty seats. That I hope that you appoint somebody that will help us out here, as much as Val did and as much as Patty
I
did.
need somebody to get Kenny Dell in writing the dates, well, there's no other project going back that far, so that's mute. But that could have eliminated all this. Kenny Dell's office has absolutely no idea about when those dates were instated.
And no
or
one,
talked about
and he wouldn't have had any problems with that
All
if
they
some.
know down there is.
That Patty went to them and said that this place needs COAs in this. I did not say anything to them. No one needed to say anything to them because that was part of the grant. It didn't need to be part of that. If there was official business of people needing money for a fee or a COA was approved, promise you Stevie would have got that to you, or Brittany would have got that to you, or got that down to their building inspector's office. That's not.
They got paperwork downstairs from an ordinance that's passed and said, from here on, this is charged. They had no idea what had happened.
This grant, yeah.
23, 24.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. This grant was from 2024, when there was no fees there and there was no COAs needed.
That would have been all hearsay, because there had been all kinds of stumbling blocks about when the grant even got placed.
But
True, but once again, when I have other people, not just Emily, I've had other people say the same thing, that there was confusion created by a person from our commission. I didn't create that confusion. Did you create that confusion?
Could you have eliminated that confusion?
Huh?
Could you have eliminated that confusion?
There was no confusion to be needed in the first place because it didn't need to even have the conversation. That's what I'm saying. There was no conversation needed for this grant. There was none. It was a moot point.
There's never been an explanation about, well, in 2024, just from what I've heard here, that it was agreed upon that there would not be those fees.
this just all came up in the last 30 days. It's been in the
What?
paper from Emily. I mean, this has all just
Why?
come out of the blue.
From,
It's been 7 weeks at least.
Well, but you heard it because you're more involved though, Dave.
I understand that, but
You're more
what
involved.
I'm saying is that it was always under the impression from the day that we received the grant, or was notified that we got the grant. Carrie Barrett even said it right there. She said it. There was no fees and no COAs. That was a moot point. And this going back to either it was her, it had to have been her, it wasn't me, saying something into someone's ear in the city about a fee or a COA or something along those lines. It wasn't me. Why would I need to go? Why? It's creating more work than I didn't need. Why do I need to be the one going down to him and saying, there's no fees on this, when he could have blatantly picked up the phone and called me, or Kelly could have called me and said, hey, Patty's in here asking about fees, or saying we need to get fees. Couldn't that have been talked about here?
it's real simple. They get paperwork downstairs saying that they're in place now. We've turned it into an ordinance,
It's an ordinance.
but they don't know the dates. They don't know if it's from 24, that they're just, it's just now.
But why was there such a,
When it was awarded, it was, who knows what date it was awarded.
Sure.
I have no idea if it's in 23.
Because the 25 meeting minutes says anything in the historical district says you need an ordinance, you need a COA.
From that point forward.
But they're not looking back, Dave. That's
I
where the
understand that, but that's what I'm
confusion
saying is, why was that such an issue when Emily had already said something, Stevie had already said something, Brittany had already said something? Why was that an issue for Patty then to go down there and make such and blow it up out of the water?
Very simple answer to that question. Because Emily is not the president of this board.
She's not, no.
And for her to say something down there carries no merit. You could have resolved this by going to Kenny Dale or to call me and say, we had this conversation way before and it sounds like to me it probably was talked about before the grant was even really awarded, like he's wanting to go get a grant, but during the process, it sounds like to me, and I have no idea if that's in 23 or when it was, that we've decided not to do that. But downstairs, they don't know that. They have no idea when you guys had discussed that.
All it would have taken was a quick phone call. Kenny's got my cell phone number. He could have just picked up the phone and called me. Why do I need to do it when?
Because he's already got it on his desk that it's.
From who though? From her, not from us, from her.
You guys didn't vote to charge.
No, we did not. And then that's, I
Then
don't
why is
know.
there a $25 fee then?
What's that?
Then why is there a $25?
Because it was
fee?
after the fact. It was literally after the fact. That's what I'm saying. I know we're going in circles right now because of when the date was from this and when the date was from this, but that's what I'm saying. It was already established that there was no guideline, that for that we didn't need to have anything past that. We didn't need to have any of that stuff. We didn't need that.
They are supposed to charge a $25.
Correct.
Now,
Correct.
from what date? From,
Sometime in
Last week.
2025 when we voted. I mean, it was back in 2025 when we
so
voted.
you did vote to have that in,
But you're talking two different
Turn it
people
into
from
an ordinance.
Landmarks. You're talking new people down in the office downstairs. You've got a lot of changes going on in both ends of the spectrum that come into play here, guys. And I'm sorry, there's a lot going on
Sure.
downstairs. Life is confusing as Hector for everybody. So there's a lot of components going on down and both everywhere. So I just, there's a lot of things going on.
There's a lot of miscommunication.
Absolutely.
and Absent communication.
There's a lot, and to say one thing or another, there's a lot. And I'm sorry, if Emily would have come and participated alongside of us, it would have helped the cause. And I'm sorry.
I
And
don't-
I can point the finger that way too.
I don't disagree with that.
Emily should have came and participated. So,
yeah,
Financial transaction.
Yeah, right there.
And a clerk-
yeah, I already visited there, Fred. I took an admission too. So,
I might go to the men's instead of the women's.
well, I thought when I went in, I could have gone in the wrong one too,
What
so.
are you saying?
And on a positive note, when this gentleman came in tonight and presented what he was going to say, I was going to vote against your motion.
I knew you were.
But we talked it out, and it changed my mind, and we voted to help them out. So trying to think something positive, and I apologize to you for my outburst earlier. I didn't mean to get angry, so.
And and I guess it goes back to, like I said, we all need communication. I totally agree. And the same thing goes too, that guys, life gets busy, and I'm just
Life
being
gets
real.
screwy.
I got a new job. I got 2 kids with a million activities going on. It's a lot. So that's what I'm saying, to add extra work and to add extra stuff that didn't need to happen. And think about how much money this costs Joel in legal fees for him to even have to go and dig for this stuff when it didn't need to be happening. That's what I'm saying.
They cost, Joel, cost the city.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, Joel.
That's what I'm saying. It cost the city more money than $125 that was collected.
And the delay in construction.
And it's delayed, it's delayed this construction process almost 2 months, and it's like,
Well,
And I'm not buying that 100%.
well, there's
I'm
other
not
things
buying
too,
that.
but at the
Yeah.
same
I'm not
time,
buying
it's
that.
like,
it didn't have any-
it's one more
it
stepping
helped matters,
stone.
But it didn't
Right.
delay the project.
Correct. I'm just
It
saying,
didn't delay
right,
it.
I'm just saying that that there was that frustration part. And it goes back to the other grants that we could get for our city that would help us out. And we want to be cooperative. We were cooperative. I thought we were being cooperative up until all this stuff I started getting about 3 weeks ago about stuff.
Don't ask me for a social function with Main Street right now, Scott. Not with the way she's lambasted us on social media or on the paper.
Yeah, and
Don't ask me. She's really thrown a lot of stones out there without coming to visit anybody.
They have had a lot of frustrations. I mean.
I get that, but
they're-
she's
they're
thrown
ready
a
to
lot
pull
of
the trigger.
stones.
And the lady from, I don't know, Arizona or somewhere that was their architect and engineer, we had paid her like 3/4 of the project, and she didn't have a quarter of it done. And so we drew a line in the sand, and that's when the guy that was really here from here in Indiana that had done all the work, she kind of sold this project to him, and so it's been on a hiccup the whole time.
Yeah.
And the project couldn't start until Robbie had to get a second insurance policy put into place to get the project started.
Sure.
And that just came to Board of Works last Monday, just a week ago Monday. So this didn't hold all that up, but communication on, the girls downstairs see something in black and white, and that's all they have to go by. They don't know when you talk to them in 23 or 24 about, well, verbally this was said, that
Sure.
this one would, but why would Kenny call you when he sees it in black and white also? It could have, you should have called me, you should have called Kenny. And
Sure.
we made this agreement with them, and whatever year. it
Yeah,
was.
and that's the other part of it too, is it wasn't our agreement. It wasn't the Preservation Commission's agreement. It was part of the grant. Like, it was part of the grant that it would forego all these other things. Like, we knew that going in.
It's not going, it doesn't forego building permits.
Not building permits, but we're part of a building permit now. To get a building permit, you have to have a COA in the downtown.
permit.
But once again, that was not established by us at all of like a deal of, you don't have to come get a COA for this project. That was never part of our deal, because they used, for the plans, the Secretary of Interior standards. And they went off of that, which is what our guidelines are off of, and that's what they used. And our guidelines are, to be real, are pretty,
Cupcake?
yeah, compared to what they did.
Comparative.
So what's the point of even having a COA if they're using something of a higher standard that we're basing our guidelines off of?
It'd be great if Kenny could attend. I know it's a lot. but
It's a
if
lot.
He could attend. Then
He would know these things, and that's
He's
the,
got Board of Zoning, he's got.
Yeah.
He's got a lot.
and I get it, but and going back to that, I
All about
mean,
communication.
it is, and that's what I'm saying, like,
Communication.
and that's what I'm saying is, you're saying to me of like, I gotta call you and call him, it's like, we used to have somebody here, we used to have either him, or like I said, Harold used to be here, we had Les Hall, or whatever his name used to be, that was a building inspector, we've had a few different over the years, but once again, we always had somebody here so that they were in the know, and they knew what was going on, and now it's relayed on minutes from this, and Stevie, thank God Stevie's here to make sure that they get the COAs that they needed and relay information there and have a resource there. I mean, they could have called Stevie. I mean, that's what she's here for. I mean, she's only getting paid to be here besides,
Okay.
So that's what
All
I
right.
guess I'm saying.
I'm glad she's here, but Kenny Dell doesn't know her from apple butter. He should have heard from you.
Okay. I'll take responsibility. If that's what it takes, I will totally take responsibility.
I appreciate that you're here, but our local building inspector knows Dave.
Sure.
And I would say that this incident is heightened more than normal, more than usual. But I think with a little bit more communication, it could have been resolved.
I totally agree, and I will take responsibility. Next time I'll make sure to do something about it.
But sometimes you don't know when things are going on to react, so.
But I'll make sure to relay. If I have anything that goes on like that, I'll make sure to do that.
I hope you rethink the value of this group. The knowledge that's here in this group.
I never
And the
said
fact-
I didn't devalue it.
I got you, but in the past, Brittany came up with a figure years ago that we approved 90+% of what
Mhm.
comes before us. So why our value would be negative is just silly. We just want things done correctly.
Yep.
And we approve the things that are presented to us correctly, and most people understand that. It's the few people who come with something that they know is wrong, and then they cause a big hullabaloo over not getting approved because of it.
Well said, Scott.
Very well said.
Well, and because it's their idea, they don't like to be said no to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If there's a change.
Right.
I get that. I live that. I
Yeah.
live that every day.
Okay.
But when we hold ourselves to a higher standard, look what happens when you hold yourself to a higher standard. It creates opportunity. It creates so much opportunity for our downtown.
There's a contingency of the grants that we're getting because we have the standard.
We're a certified legal
If we
government
want to just
now.
slap
Yeah.
Vinyl and slap
Right.
whatever you want to architecturally on whatever, this town would be crap, nobody would be putting a grant on it because there's no standard.
Mhm.
But when I go into historic districts and look at them, and you can tell this city has a standard.
Like Noblesville.
Noblesville's one of them. It's like, good. I love going to Noblesville because I feel like I'm going back in time, which is the experience that I want. That's the experience
Sure.
that I'm after.
Sure.
The nostalgia, the sentimentality of it.
I agree.
But to have that, we have to say no. If you want people to come to that kind of stuff, we have a standard.
Well, at one point,
That's why
when-
Noblesville gets
Yeah.
visited. That's why Richmond and certain places gets visited. That's,
I agree.
they just want to go there for that
Feeling.
1970. I feel like I'm back as a kid again, and, it's
I-
that kind of thing.
I know two people very well that have businesses downtown Newcastle and have businesses downtown Pendleton. And I drive through Pendleton and I see some of their houses that are pretty impressive,
Mhm.
just to get to
Yeah.
the interstate. And both those people say that the businesses downtown Pendleton say, well, how come, we won't be like Newcastle. They want the traffic that we have in
Yeah.
Newcastle.
We're getting traffic.
The lady at the farmer's market the first morning had over 400 card transactions of selling her taco burrito.
Yeah.
Sold out of it every egg she had. So, no, we've set standards, we are setting standards.
Yep.
When we tore Kresge's down, some of the people thought that it was
End of the world.
yeah, and that building, you could look in and see the first floor of it and the building right
Yeah.
next to it.
That was an
Yeah.
accident waiting to happen there.
I'm very thrilled and thankful that we have those standards. But we need to be cordial and communicate.
Sure.
I don't know what else to say.
Absolutely.
We've always said too, besides the bad part of sometimes having to say no to people, that's why we have Brittany here too. We want to be used as a resource. We've always said that since day one. And I think some people have used us as a resource to come here for information, to help out when we can help out when we can. That's what we want to be here for, is to help out. But I also think the meetings do get crazy tense around here sometimes. But that's what I'm saying is, like, we're here to be a help too, to help preserve, protect, and promote our downtown. That was our original intent. That's the whole reason why this place started, or why this even existed, because of Wayne Goodman coming and saying, hey, we need this in our downtown. And it's the truth, we did. And it's made leaps and bounds differences in our downtown. And anybody that can argue that, I'll argue it till I'm blue in the face, that we as a commission have done more for our downtown than majority of things have.
I mean, I'd like to stay on board coming back here 10 years ago, but with Scott, who's been here, his obvious care, he owns buildings, you own buildings, expertise of Fred, Richard is deeply concerned. We're concerned about, because we grew up, this is our city, we grew up here, and we have expertise, we have experience, we have all of those types of things. I want to stay on. I don't have to do this. I'm a pastor. I've got 5 billion other things that I could be doing
We
right
could use some
now.
prayer right now.
But, yeah, right. But there's a reason why I stay on here, because I do, and I'm seeing as I participate downtown, Presbyterian Church here, and various functions that are going on. So I care. But there does have to be a standard, And I think we've done look, I worked at ACE 4 or 5 years ago, and things were really starting to turn around. And everybody comes to ACE, and I hear everything. And I made a comment once, when I got here 10 years ago and started with Todd there at ACE, Newcastle, blah, blah, blah. And I did stay, I think a couple of years ago, I stated the tone at ACE has changed. Did you go to the farmer's market? Did you notice the tone changed? That made me, and I didn't toot my horn, I'm on the history. I just heard it. Felt pretty good about that. It's like I had a little vote hand gear thing in that with the board, but that felt good, hearing that. But something's going on downtown.
My cousins from Tennessee, and they came last year for the race. I've been to Newcastle 8 years. We went to Inconel. Patrick's like,
Love Inconel.
What's happened here downtown?
Right.
He goes, I don't remember it looking like this. Talk about the money and investments coming to downtown. He was shocked how good it looked.
And Monkey Jack, the owner, I love this Monkey Jack record store. That's great.
Yeah.
He's making great money. He's doing pretty good. Just that stuff, that kind of stuff.
I would like it if each of you would call me within the next 2 weeks. I'd like to have a personal, private conversation with you. I'd love to
You can do that.
talk to you. Just call my secretary and set up a time that's good for you. It can be before 8 o'clock, after 4 o'clock, makes no difference. I'd like for you to set up a time. I'd like to talk to each of you individually.
Okay.
Just consider the value of this group of people, particularly those 3 on that side who've been with us so long.
Thanks, Scott.
Call me at your convenience.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it.
And you're excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Stand here, Lee.
I would like to make a motion to refund those fees, just because I don't think that was right to do so. Obviously, you know my reasons. What's
Have
that?
been paid or they've not?
If they have been paid, I want them, if they have not, obviously, we can make sure, but
I thought they were paid.
I'll say, if according to the report, it looks like they've been paid.
I'll
or at least
second
they
your
have.
motion.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. And then, on the new business, we had the CAP contract renewal.
Yes, so the CAP contract is the community assistance, or commission assistance program that Landmarks has that provides my services for this commission. It's a contract between the city and Landmarks, and it's coming up for renewal in June. And it goes in front of city council for approval, but I just wanted to bring it up to all of you, in case there was any discussion to be had about that. From 24 to 26, it was provided free of charge due to the preserving grant, and the charge goes to the city, not the specific HPC funds, as far as I'm aware. But given that, it's the new cycle.
What's the P stand for?
Program.
Commission Assistance Program.
Commission Assistance Program, thank you.
There's too many acronyms.
I know, thank you.
It would be the contract would require 2 payments of $2,000 from the city to Landmarks for the 2 years of services from Indiana Landmarks. So, like I said, that goes in front of city council and the mayor, obviously, but I wanted to inform you all that that's coming up before, so.
Cool.
When's the city council, that comes up, what meeting was that?
Next week?
I'm not sure what
It might
which
come next
exactly.
week, yeah.
It's first and third Mondays of the
Yeah,
month.
Could be next
So
week.
they just had it last Monday, and then they'll have it this Monday.
Who brings that up?
I'll send that to the mayor, and
Next Monday?
it comes up for renewal in June, so it'll probably be one of the June
Mhm.
council meetings.
Who brings that up at the meeting?
Probably Rex.
I'm not sure.
Probably
since I
Rex.
was-
Probably Rex would be my
Probably
guess.
Like Aaron, hasn't Aaron championed this before? I think?
Yeah.
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 I can obviously copy Aaron on any
Yeah.
communications as well, so.
Okay. Well, we appreciate your help, as always, and I hope that the city council sees the value in having this here. So,
What if they don't approve?
So in order to keep a preservation commission, you have to have a staff member. From my understanding of the ordinance, and I don't have it in front of me here, of having a preservation commission, generally, legally, you have to have a staff member or somebody contracted to perform those.
so it'd have to be someone from the building inspector's office here.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
or hiring someone new.
That's why I was appointed before.
What's that?
That's why I was appointed before,
Mhm.
because the commission would be,
Yep.
not somebody here.
Yep.
Before Brittany, who did we have?
Well, there was a couple of years where we didn't have anybody, and Val was here for us.
That's
and
why I
did
was
that.
appointed.
And that's why she was
appointed.
appointed to be here and to take minutes.
So wasn't there time before that, before Val got here?
Yes, and we used
No
to,
one?
there was a short period with no one.
Yeah, that's right.
And then, before that, it used to be, like I said, we had the building inspector typically
Yeah.
was here.
They were never here when I was.
Or there was a secretary from the building inspector's office here. Usually when it first started, like I said, was that Harold Frame? Was he the first one?
I think Harold was the first one, I think.
And so when that happened, Harold actually took the minutes. Like, that was his job to take the minutes of the meeting.
Yeah.
And then answer any questions too that were city related. And of course, we have Brittany here now that does more preservation related questions. And then is that communication between the board and the building inspector's office.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So,
do we need a vote on that, or is that just
I mean, maybe for good measure, we can.
Yeah, I would just say, I would like to make a motion to be in favor of renewing the CAP contract for the commission.
Second.
Second from Scott. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
6:30 Monday.
All right, since it's 10 to late and we've been here for a hot minute, is there any other thing that needs to
This
come?
was the most contentious meeting I've ever been at.
Oh, really?
What, 3 years?
Any type of meeting or this?
No,
this-
no, I've been at,
Oh, okay.
go to a Presbyterian.
So that might get really interesting. If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.